Alright, so today's update's actually really short. Um, there's only a couple of things that I did, and mostly it has to do with bugs. So, let's go into the game level. Actually, I just added a few lights here and there, but there it is, final level. Most of the work I did this week has to do with this. There's a few other things, but I just won't even put them on there. But now, if I play from here, one bug that I had before was that whenever you stood in front of this and you press this button, the player would be right in front of your face, or you'd see that little clipping because um, the camera's inside the player, or something along those lines. So I fixed that. All I did is I hid the player whenever you go into this mode, and then I show the player afterwards. Another thing was the issue with um, where the mouse events would just stop working. So I would click on here and turn, crank this up to a certain amount, and let's say about that high, and then I can move this one as well. I gotta try and get them kind of high. If I go too far, I can overshoot the pressure that I need. So that's another thing too. So first it was this turning where it would just stop all of a sudden, and I couldn't keep turning the wheels, so that got fixed. And I also added, let's see if I can get out of here, I added this master gauge here, where it's an accumulation of these gauges here, so you have to kind of figure out how to get it to about 60 to 70 psi on the master gauge between all of these. So once again, right here, this is where the issue would be. I'd start off with one side, and you can move all of them, but then when you go over to the other side, you'd be able to move just the first one, and then you wouldn't be able to move the second one. And as you can see, now we can move the second one, move all of these without that little lock that would happen. So let me see if I can get it to where I need it to go. It's going to be somewhere between 60 and 70, so let me see here. I'm about 50, so I need to keep going on these guys. I'll go to this one. Now each one of these pushes it up only a certain amount, so they're not all the same. I can make this one go all the way up to 100, and it might only raise the master by like 2 or something. Well, that's at 70. Let's see if it'll let me do this. Nope, it's too much pressure. Okay, so let me reduce the pressure a bit. I'll just go with this guy. Let me see how far that takes me. It's like right at 70, so maybe I can mess with one of these guys. Reduce this guy. How's that look? It's a little bit less. Let's see if that works. Nope, still too much. Let's try this guy. That one is tiny little increments, so I just need to reduce it over here somewhere. Let's see. Let's try that one. Nope, still too much. I actually don't remember what percentage I put on there that you need it to be, so I'm just kind of guessing at the moment. But you kind of get the idea. Once you figure out exactly how much you need to be at, then you'll notice that lever will end, and then it'll take you to the congratulations screen and whatnot. So, yep, I'm just going to quit while I'm ahead here, because now all of that stuff is working. No more clicking, no more issues with mouse events, and I put the master gauge in there. And just so you can see the stuff that I had to do, let's get out of here and look at this levels blueprint. So I redid a lot of it. So this is kind of like what it looks like. Pretty complicated looking, which most of it is just mathematical equations going through there. So the first thing is you go into this area where the gauge is, and it enables this trigger right here. And once that trigger is enabled, then it allows me to press the interact button, which is E. If I press E, then in here I get rid of the HUD or show the HUD depending on if I'm getting in or out. Disable input for the player, because one of the things that it did before was you could hit the space bar, and even though the player is invisible, he would be jumping. Or if you're moving the mouse, the player would still be moving around. So I disabled that input. I hid the actor, like it says right here, actor hidden. And then I set the mode to game and UI, and then to game only whenever I'm getting out of it. But while I'm in it, then I have this event here that is checking to see if, on event tick, I'm constantly checking to see if puzzle 1 is triggered and if the mouse is down. If the mouse is down, then I go through all of these calculations to figure out what the offset is between from where I click the mouse to where I move the mouse to. So that's why when I click and I move the mouse up, it calculates distance between that, or if I'm going up or if I'm going down, and then increases the needle accordingly, as well as changes the gauge amount accordingly for each one of the gauges. So there's 3 gauges here. And at the very end, we play the sound. So, and I do that for going up on the gauges, going down on the gauges, as well as going up on the handles, or actually this one's down, and going up on the handles. So I'm doing all of those calculations. But only when the mouse is down, and the mouse is only down when I click the left mouse button, and enable trace is enabled, which is set right here. Yes, it sounds quite complicated. And to throw in another bone into that, I created the pressure gauge blueprint, which made things a lot easier to move the gauge. So there's 4 events, 2 that are for just the regular gauges, and then 1 for the master gauge. Because the master gauge gets moved at different increments, I had to create a secondary rotation, or add local rotation for it, that is based off of how much is being moved on the regular gauges. Complicated? Not really once you get into it, but it definitely sounds complicated. So, yep. And that was what I did this time around. There you go.